Well, let's hope this works. So we can a little bit better view here. There we go. I think that might work. Well, hello. Welcome back to the Semi Kitchen. And like it says, we are going to be making steak and a baked potato. Now, hopefully, we can make a success out of this. I was finally able to get the internet, quote unquote, worked out. Now, unfortunately, that's not this week. I still have to get back to Georgia to pick up the little SIM card that fits in here so I go back to viewing the way I used to, which I think is a little bit better view. But for now, we're still going to use the iPhone. Hopefully, it's coming through good. It seems like it is. But we're gonna have ourselves a simple, easy dinner. Nothing too complex. I mean, the most complex thing we're going to do is the sauce that goes on the baked potato, on the steak. But everything else is pretty simple. Baked potato, put it in the microwave, nuke it. Baked potato we're going to do on our panini grill, like the George Foreman grill. Hello, Melanie. Welcome to dinner. But we're gonna take the time primarily with the sauce. The steak is we're just going to grill it. We're not going to do anything real fancy. Salt and pepper the steak, throw it on the grill, let it cook, leave it be, let it do its thing. The sauce, we are going to be making quite a bit of things back here. Quite a bit of ingredients. Most of this is going into the sauce. That's the number one thing that's going to take, like I said, the most time to get done right. But when we do it right, we'll have a great complement for the baked potato. We're going to have a great complement for the steak. We're going to have something that's a little bit more enjoyable than, well, here. This is not an endorsement. It's not a warning, but these are good temporarily. You need something quick, you need something fast. It's done. It's over with. Bing, bang, boom. There's nothing wrong with this, in my opinion. I don't make a habit of this. This is kind of a long storage, type thing. TJ Jones up in LeGrand. Well, I will not be getting to LeGrand, I don't think, because of the restrictions there in Glenwood Canyon. But I will be getting over to Hermiston, heading up to Kennewick, Roland, whatnot, because I will not be able to go over Snoqualmie tomorrow because of they're forecasting snow. So I'm not even going to worry about Snoqualmie and just getting on I-90 and coming straight out into Wyoming. I will have to go down past to Portland, Oregon, out the Columbia River, then north back into Washington, up to Spokane, Idaho, Montana, into Wyoming, down onto I-25, down to the north side of Denver to Frederick, Colorado, to make this delivery. Bonnie Marie, good afternoon or evening, as it were. I don't know why I'm looking at my watch. That's not there, but B Blood. Not a problem, sir. I appreciate you stopping in, period. Well, unfortunately, like I said, because It's either get over to North Bend, Washington, which is what they call Seattle East, then waiting for Snoqualmie to open, which may or may not. And I don't know what kind of chain restrictions they're going to have, which I don't carry chains. Nobody in my company does, except for maybe the, some of the owner operators. But permits, when it's snow and ice and whatnot, won't let us go anyway. So, there's no point in going there and sitting. Yes, I may have to drive an extra 100, 150 miles. But if I can get going in that 150 miles, which in Washington, that's a little over 2.5 hours, roughly 2.5 hours. I will try, B-Blood, I will try. So if I can go down, a little bit out of the ways down to the Columbia River Gorge, I-84, which I did the last time I left out of Seattle, Tacoma area. I'm kind of the same situation. I don't want to have to sit there and wait and be delayed for a full day when I can, like I said, invest an extra 2.5, maybe 3 hours of driving and get it there that much sooner. Now, we are only picking up a John Deere 85G excavator. Not a very big machine. We're just picking up one and we're going. We're taking that to Frederick, Colorado, which is a little bit north of Denver on I-29. Really, I consider it I consider it a neighborhood or a sub, a community around, it's the suburbs in my opinion. Over 50 and Fantabulous, Sister Lynn, I will be passing by you more than likely either Monday or Tuesday very, very early. So I will be passing through Hermiston very early or late, depending on how it is. I may only get to, there's a possibility I could get all the way up to Ritzville. That's a possibility. But if not, I may stop in Pasco. I may stop at the Pilot, Flying J, Broadway, whatever they want to call it. Not a great place to park, but there you go. But see, Stansfield is out of the a little bit out of the way. I mean, I won't be on a permit, so if I need to, I can't stop at Stansfield. But I'll be going up through Hermiston, up into back into Washington. When I tell you, Jameson Taylor Ferris, how you doing? We will try. We'll do what we can. Jeff Wright. No, and I will be asking tomorrow morning when I get up and get my day started. Is my truck ready? Because they do not want me in this heavy 3 forever. I'm not pulling the right type of trailer. I'm not doing the right type of loads for a heavy 3, and they don't want me in this truck at the moment. And I'm only in the truck because it was the only truck available. So there you go. But as soon as I can, get back into my truck and, things that I have set up in there, shelves and baskets on the back wall are taken care of. So yes, you know it all too well. It's a place to stop. That's about it. If you need a place to stop, there it is. I've been there 7 or 8 times now, and the first time was more than enough. If the Walmart over in Richland would actually let trucks park there overnight, I would have parked there overnight. Well, see, Jameson, mine was the fourth gear, the fourth ring in the transmission. So gear 9, 10, 17, and 18 blown out And it was like, all of a sudden, bam. Well, before the night before, I had no problems. Got parked late. Then I got into Memphis. It started grinding and making noise and not holding properly. Called the shop, at the company, and said, "Hey, here's what's going on. What do you want me to do?" Drive it till it breaks. Well, an hour later, it's broken. So I rode in 16th gear all the way up from about an hour north of Paducah, from Memphis, Tennessee, all the way up to Paducah, Kentucky. And there I sat for 5 days, November the 25th on, for this truck to be brought down to me. And I've been waiting for the transmission to get rebuilt or replaced for over 2 months now. So, but we're not here to talk about food and routes and blah blah blah. We're here to see some food. So here we are with all of our ingredients. What the pro top chefs call mise en place. Everything in place, basically. So all your tools, all your ingredients are raring to go. So here we got our panini grill. We'll be cooking our steak on this. We have our hot plate. Oops, sorry. And we got a high quality pan. This is why I bought this pan, primarily for things like this. This is a copper, solid copper metal, not just copper painted or copper colored. And this is 100% real silver lining in here. Normally this would be tin, the metal tin on the inside for most copper. Some of them do stainless steel coatings on the inside, but I went ahead and spent the extra money to make sure I got the silver liner, and I love the way this pan cooks. It's expensive. 99.9% of most everybody in a house will not have this. And here I am, an idiot on a truck, going to cook with a pan like this. But I love cooking, so that to me is not an extravagance. It is it kind of is an extravagance, but this pan will last me the rest of my life. And this pan can be passed down to generation after generation after generation, and it'll still perform the same as it does now. Oh, well, that's the nature of trucking. All right. All I can do is say a prayer for you and hope you do get rolling and you're not stuck someplace that sucks. Here I am in Tacoma, Washington, at the Loves right near the port. This place sucks. Well, it does and doesn't. I don't have a free shower because I get all my free showers from Pilot Flying J. B, the attitude of some of the guests in here. I don't know if you saw the post I did, yesterday. The mask Nazis are out in force. You're killing me, blah, 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 whatever. All right, but let's get back to the food. So, like I said, we got everything set here. We're good to go. So we got a Angus USDA choice, thick cut New York strip. Now this is a little over an inch thick. And we have a net weight of 1 pound, 1.2 pounds. Which is a pretty good size steak for one person. But I love New York strip. That's my favorite cut of steak meat. That's it. T-bone, porterhouse, Delmonico, Kansas City, filet mignon. They all have their benefits and what they're doing. Mr. Welkster, how you doing? Trucker Z, how you doing? 2 more truck drivers in here. But for me, pound for pound, a good quality New York strip is a better cut of meat than anybody else. So that's what we're going to go. So we're going to cook it on the panini grill. So we already got that plugged in. We're going to get it hot. We're going to get the steak going. So let me get that going, and we can talk about the rest of the ingredients as we proceed. So just get myself a plate here. Now, I am not going to trim off the fat any more than what's here already, because I already had that done at the store. But a little bit more fat up here in the marbling in the meat would be better, but I will take that. I think we'll be fine with that as it is. And if I need to add any more fat, I'll be using butter to add that a greater richness to it. But butter is going to be in the sauce, so we'll be fine with that. We're not going to be making a thick sauce. We're making a fairly, just a reduced sauce. We're not going to add a thickening agent to it. We're not going to be adding any flour, any cornstarch, any potato starch, any arrowroot, any xanthan gum, none of that stuff. But we are going to, like I said, we're just going to take the heat that's going to be in this pan, and we're just going to evaporate the water out of it to reduce the sauce and concentrate the flavors. No, sir, I am not trying to get monetized. And thank you for the share there, Trucker Z. I appreciate it. I never had a need to monetize because I'm not going to make any money from it. A penny here, a penny there. It's not worth it. My time, my energy. So I'm not going to worry about it. So the only thing we're going to put on here on the steak, we're going to put a nice bit of kosher salt. Now, this may seem like a lot to some people. Always cook for yourself. Never cook to what other people demand you to cook. Now, of course, if you're cooking for your family, yes, you got to take that into account, but blah, blah, blah. And we're going to put some black pepper on here. And the black pepper is going to add some flavor, more sweetness than a spiciness, because we're going to cook this pretty intensely. So the panini grill is set to the maximum temperature it can, which is I think 425 is the temperature. I did shoot it with a laser thermometer, but I forget what it is. But we're gonna do that. We still have a little bit of chicken fat on there from yesterday, so I did not clean it, knowing that what I was going to be doing this time. So it's not going to hurt anything. The temperature is going to kill any kind of bacteria or anything else. We're going to pat that salt and pepper in there a little bit. Get that kind of centered. Take that off to the side. We'll deal with that in a moment. More pepper on this side. Like I said, we got a bit of chicken fat. The fond that's on there, the little brown bits, that's only going to add flavor. Get that out the way. A little more of the kosher salt. Now, like I said, this is a thick cut of meat, so a little bit extra seasoning is not going to hurt. I like salt a lot, so we're going to close that up. We're going to turn that down to medium. Because of the thickness of the meat, we need to take a little bit longer time A little bit slower cooking for it. Right. Love Heart, how you doing? Stephen Huber, how you doing? I do not remember ever seeing you before, Love Heart, but I do appreciate your coming in. So let's go through some of the other ingredients we got. So the other main thing we're having for dinner, a nice big russet potato. I mean, here's my hand. This is the potato we're cooking. I've already pre-cooked it in the microwave just to save a little bit of time and aggravation. You know, watching a potato cook in a microwave, not exactly exciting. So, but this is the size of potato we got. I mean, like I said, there's my hand. That's a good hefty potato there. So we got, I was going to use a little bit of peanut oil, but seeing a little bit more up close with the meat itself, I don't need to brush any of this peanut oil on the meat to get the a good cook going. So we're just going to put that back out the way. Now, the vast majority of the stuff up here is primarily for the sauce. Now, I do not have any garlic. But I do have some Better Than Bouillon roasted garlic paste. So you put a little dab of that in there. There you go. Mr. Scott, how you doing? No, the APU is not fixed. The APU was looked at and charged for labor to look at it, but it's not fixed. They didn't have the part there in Yakima, so it's a big waste of time. So we got a little bit of the roasted garlic. No, demi-glace, Better Than Bouillon. We have some of the roasted beef. Lots of flavor there. Soy sauce. Going to add salt and some of that meaty flavor. A small dash of the A1 sauce. A little bit of the Kitchen Bouquet to really deepen the color. That's the primary thing. It's going to bring a little bit of flavor, but it's mostly for the color. Okay, we got our Better Than Bouillon and a little bit of water here. You know, it's dissolved in, so when we put it in the sauce, it's not gonna be in a clump. We got a little bit of tomato paste, some butter that will be in the sauce, and it'll be a dab on the steak as well. We'll put a pat of butter on the steak, in the sauce as a basic ingredient, and also, of course, on the baked potato. We got a bit of Italian seasoning, a general herb mix, which this is kind of a standard thing for me. Spaghetti, chili, pan roasted potatoes, tuna fish salad. It's a good all-purpose ingredient for me. I like it. Then, of course, we got some yellow onion here. Give my little, so got a little bit of yellow onion there. Not finely minced, just diced up. But I think it'll work just fine with its meat. Got a little wipe here. Wipe my hand off. Now the only problem with the this tube of tomato paste, while convenient, it does get punctured and whatnot and bent up, and sometimes it starts to leak a little bit. So I wish it came in a jar, but that's my personal wish. And maybe when I empty this bit of beef here, I may buy another. When I buy another tube of this, I'll take a jar like here, clean it out real well, squeeze all this into the jar, and use the jar as the storage. When you're really cramming things into a refrigerator this small, you don't have a lot of room, so things kind of get crammed in, which we don't want. So those are basically all of our ingredients. Sorry, this This cup just has my vitamins and minerals in. So here's our steak. You see it's got a fairly even light brown. I'm not trying to blast it. I'm trying to cook it a little bit more slowly so it gets a little bit deeper into the meat so it's not completely raw or cold on the inside. Now, it has been sitting out for about an hour and a half. So it's come pretty close to room temperature, but not yet. And that's the big thing when you cook. Bring all of your ingredients, eggs, milk, meat, vegetable. Bring everything to room temperature before you start cooking. You will cook better, faster. The results will prove themselves. So we're going to close that again. Like I said, we turned that down to medium, around 340 degrees roughly. Like I said, we're trying to get that temperature as deep into the steak as possible. Now, the baked potato we made a little bit earlier, we wrapped in some aluminum foil. We're going to do that with the steak to keep it warm, but also to get those juices to be retained. We want as many of those juices as possible. So, of course, more ingredients. That's right. The more ingredients, the better. Not really, but this is a standard sauce that I have been making this way for well over 20 years. Sorry. So here's our plate with the meat on it. We're just going to clean that off. And I'm just using your standard disinfectant wipe. You know, that's the easiest and fastest way for me to clean things. Take a hand towel, dry that off nice and good, get all that off of there. And anything else is going to evaporate, but nice and clean, ready for another use or to be put away. So we're going to take some aluminum foil. And this will be for the steak. When the steak is pretty much finalized, we have a little bit of temperature that, because it's trapped in there, a little bit of temperature is going to keep cooking the steak a little bit. So we're going to try to get things done here properly. So we're looking good. Grab a pair of good old kitchen tongs. We're going to rotate the meat here. We're going to flip it over as well. Good, good, good. We're going to turn the heat up to maximum. Like that right there. So, like I said, we turn the heat up to the maximum. That's going to raise the overall. Oh, dang it! Didn't catch the engine shut down. Hold a second, please. Pull that up. That's the problem of not having an APU that's working. So, there we go. That's why I really want to get back in my truck, because I know my APU works fine. This loaner truck decided it wanted to have a problem, and they can't identify what it is. So, whatever. We will do as we can. So, like I said, we got our steak. And if you can see right here, if you can see right there, we get a little bit more of that actual char on there, that actual color that everybody wants, which is part of the flavor because you're caramelizing the natural sugars and proteins in the meat. So we'll stick that up there. We'll put this. Yeah, really got no place, but we'll put that up there. I think. Yeah, we'll be okay. So we're gonna get a good char on the outside, some good color on there, and we're gonna go from there. Then we will start. We're going to get our pan heated up. We're going to get the ingredients for the sauce in there. We're going to caramelize and sweat out the onion. Get the flavor out of those, the sweetness out of them. You know, get rid of that, a little bit of spiciness, but get that depth of flavor. We're going to be adding soy sauce, a little touch of A1 bouquet, tomato paste, our better than bouillon, our herbs, butter, and a touch of black pepper. And we should not need any salt, but as always, we're going to taste as we go along to make sure that it is how I want it. Now we have salt on the meat itself. We're going to have salt in the sauce. We're going to have salt and butter on the baked potato. So it's all going to come together. But as I always say, I'd rather do this and take the time to do this than going into the store here, into this Love's, and standing around waiting for a Subway sandwich or a roller dog or a microwave burrito or, you know, a little jar of a little, you know, cup of microwave beef stew or, or any other garbage they sell. I'd rather spend the money, which is usually less than what you're going to get at, at McDonald's. I mean, all right, so the typical McDonald's meal, you're running at least $9, $10. This piece of meat, this 1.5 pounds of New York strip, was $12. Now some would say that's expensive, $12, but an equivalent amount of food with all these ingredients, the baked potato, the steak, the time, the effort, amortizing the cost of all the equipment and my labor, I wind up actually saving money over some cheap BS that you're going to get in there. So why wouldn't I do it? So we are satisfied. I love to hear that sizzle. So we got a little butter, some color here. So we can't get that down. There we go. Getting some good color on there. A little bit of char, a little bit of crispiness right on the very edge. So we're going to rotate that about 45 degrees. Okay. So let's spin it around this way. I think it'll look a little better that way. Now, even with a contact grill like this, you still want to rotate whatever you're cooking on it, because no matter how efficient they try to make it, there will always be hot spots in those plates. This one, it's got a weird kind of horseshoe hot spot, going around it. So if I want my food to cook properly, the way I want it to come out, I need to rotate the meat, rotate the vegetables, rotate the chicken, whatnot. But it's all depending upon what I'm cooking and how I'm cooking it. Now, it may sound weird when it would seem there's only one way to cook on this, but no. Controlling your time, your temperature, your pressure, whether you're using only one plate or two, all those different things affect, the end result. So like I said, we're going to have a pretty good steak dinner tonight. So, and those of you who know, here is a Galanz, Galanz, Galanz microwave, air fryer, convection oven. If you're in a truck, you want a good all-in-one unit with a lot of capabilities, this is well worth the paltry little bit of money they're asking for. $110 Walmart was asking for it. I picked one up. It's been the best microwave, oven, air fryer I've ever had. Trucking along with Kiersey. How are you doing? I hope you're not stuck somewhere in the snow. Hopefully you got some clear roads where you are and nobody driving like maniacs. But go check out Trucking Along with Kiersey. Go check out TJ Jones Bull of the Woods. You know, go check out Trucker Z. Go check out B Blood and everybody else in here. Make the friends, watch their channels. And up on the screen, you see my YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel, This Trucker's Life, and also my food group, my food cooking group, can't even speak, on Facebook, Unapologetic Semi Kitchen. That's what it is. I don't apologize for a damn thing here. If you have a problem with salt, well, I don't. And I'll eat as much salt as I please. You have a problem with ketchup? Well, I like ketchup, so I'm going to use it. You have a problem with the way I do things? That's it. I'm not going to apologize for it. If you don't like it, tough noogies. Left New Jersey, stuck in South Carolina. Where in South Carolina? On 95 or 85? All right. Let's see here. That ain't looking too bad in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna turn this off. Just unplug it. We're gonna take our steak here. So here we're gonna take a nice little look at it. See the other side, because it was on the bottom, didn't cook as well, but we're gonna leave the pretty side up. All right. Now we're gonna wrap this up in the aluminum foil to keep it warm, and to let the temperature that's already existing in the meat to continue to cook it through. Now we should, if I gauged it right, we should be at a good medium rare, going towards medium. So we got that bundled up in its nice little blanket, all tucked in, safe and secure. We're just going to throw that into the old, we're going to use the old microwave as a place to store things. And you see the baked potato is hiding in there. So we're just going to take that out, dump that right together. We got to wash both of those. So we're just going to do that like that. Now, we are going to focus on the real star of the show. We're going to focus on the sauce. Yep. Didn't catch it. Oh, well. Crap. All right. That's the problem living in a truck. Things fall down. All right. Low vibration, knock things down. So, yep, come on. Get out of the way. Get that. Yeah. Things happen. So things fell down. Put those back where they belong. And hopefully we don't have another incident of that. All right. So now we're going to plug in our hot plate here. A standard little $10, $12 hot plate at Walmart. Nothing fancy. Let that, get that out the way. So, we're going to turn that on. We're going to get some heat into the pan. This is a very heavy pan. Very heavy. So I got, let me pull it out here. So this is a standard Lodge, up there, skillet. All right. It's about 11, almost a foot across, but quite weighty. This copper pan that is actually smaller actually weighs more than this does. Copper and silver, cast iron. This weighs more. But here's my standard pan. Carbon steel, no liner, but good and hard. Works wonders. Love it. Like I said, we're going to let this heat up. Now, copper and silver are very good conductors of heat. They are better conductors of heat than steel or aluminum is. So, when we heat this up, it'll heat up much more evenly around. It's not going to resist the heat as much. It's going to let the heat come through the pan, through the metal, a whole lot easier. Now, Carsey, it's like I said, I love to cook. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't wear flashy clothes. I'm not a supermodel. All I do is eat. And if I want to eat the good stuff, I'm going to cook. Now, this morning in the truck, made blueberry muffins. Over a week ago, I made some baked beans with dinner. I made some bacon cheeseburgers from scratch in the truck. Made some barbecue baked beans. I have ramen and soba. I have stuffing. I've done 5-pound chickens in the oven. I do all kinds of stuff here. And like I said, I love to cook. It's not that hard. Modern technology with APUs, inverters, and the equipment you have, you can cook just like you are in a home. Yes, I do have my cooking implements go far beyond what 99.999% of all truck drivers will ever have. Even the ones in the super sleepers. 112-inch, 120-inch sleepers with full kitchen cabinets and all that. Most of them don't have anywhere near the kitchen I have. I am the only truck driver that has this. So heating element's good. Right up to the bottom of the pan. There we go. So we're going to turn. I think we're getting close. We're going to turn that down just a little bit. We got some butter that is at room temperature. Don't be afraid to let things come to room temperature. We're going to take just a little bit over an ounce of butter. We're going to get that melted. All them bubbles in there that's in the butter. We're going to turn that down a little bit more. We're going to turn that down to 2. We're going to take the pan off the heat. We're going to let the heat that's already in the pan melt that butter down. Like I said, all them bubbles is the natural water that is still in the butter. All right? Now, I really don't want to have the butter changing color. We just want to melt it. And so we're going to be coming on and off the heat a lot with this. Roxbury, how you doing? Like it says on there, steak and baked potato. But the main focus is the sauce. All right, so we have more onion here than what we're going to use. So some of this is going to go into tomorrow's dinner. So this is going to go into a little Ziploc bag. Not in my good Japanese rice bowl. I just use this to, have small portions going on. We're just going to take some of that. I'm going to take about yay much. And we're going to sweat out these onions here. I'm going to turn that up just a little bit. Now, I am using salted butter here. And like I said, this is the primary use of this particular pan. Sauces, slow cooking things with greater precision. So we're just going to keep stirring that around. We're going to take a little pinch of salt. Now there is salt already in the butter. Most chefs will use unsalted butter for a little bit more control, but I don't have room for unsalted and salted butter, so there you go. And like I said, we're all the water is causing that bubbling in the butter. When it stops bubbling, that's when the butter is going to start really cooking and changing color, and that's when you're really going to have the heat flowing through the butter. The water that's in there right now, bubbling out, is taking some of that excess heat. Now, using is really, really poor, electric hot plate instead of a gas one. That's the big downside with this, unfortunately. But we're just going to keep watching. We're just going to keep monitoring it. We're going to be watching what color the onions are going to be getting to, what color the butter is. Like I said, we're building this sauce from the ground up. We are not going to be putting any flour, any cornstarch, any other kind of thickener. We're not going to put that in here. We're going to just use the heat to evaporate the water. Like I said, standard $12, hot plate from Walmart, $355 copper and silver lined pan. Which you don't need it. It just makes it that infinitesimally better quality. Now, yes, you do need to have some knowledge. You need to have some skill. You need to have some understanding of what's going on. But I'm one of them picky SOBs that I want it my way, so I'll spend the money on a quality pan. But that's just me. I can do the same exact sauce, just at a slightly lower, level. In a regular old pan. But because I'm taking more time, more care with it to do this sauce, to me it's worth it. Got to rev the engine again there a little bit. So at this point, we're going to take a little bit of our Italian seasoning. We want to get that fat, which is what butter is, fat. We want to get that into those dried, desiccated leaves. And the same thing with the peppercorns here. We want to get that oil in there to activate those compounds, which will release the flavor, which is what we want. So we're going to stir that around. We don't want to have any burning. We don't want to have anything sticking, which it should not do. The number one enemy is water. Cold water. But that's going just fine. The butter is cooking a little bit, so we got to watch our temperature. But other than that, we are good to go. We're going to start putting some things out of the way here while we're cooking here, just to make sure we can do things easily and efficiently. So we don't need any more black pepper. We'll put that down there. We will need a little salt, but we can set that right there. Smelling good. A little bit of nuttiness, a little bit of herbiness. So a little tiny dab of the Amore tomato paste, just to bring a different layer of flavor and a little bit of color. Not much, but a little bit. A quick little touch of the Kikkoman soy sauce brings a different complexity to the meal. You're going to smash that, let that cook. I said, bring that meatiness, that deep, soybean that's been fermented flavor that soy sauce can bring. Plus, it's bringing a little bit of salt. A small dab of the A1. Bringing that little bit of spiciness to it. I said, wow, you can smell that. Everybody knows what the A1 smells like, that aroma. That just flares up something fierce. All right, a tiny touch of the kitchen bouquet, primarily for color. There we go. Maybe a little on the heavy side there, but we want a nice, deep, dark sauce for this. And you see how the color is getting there. Now we can put that away. We don't need that. Put the soy sauce away. We don't need that anymore. Put that down there. Put that where it goes, right there. Put that up in there. Put that up in there. Get on up in there. All right. You see, things leak, so we got to take care of that. Ready. We got a little bit of breaking here, but that's okay. We're just going to stir that up. Now here's our better than bouillon and a little bit of water. There we go. Shove that out of the way. That right there. Stir this up. Get all them little bits into the sauce. Like I said, we're going to let the natural processes of evaporation do the majority of the work for us. So we're going to turn that up a little bit, because right now we have enough water in the pan, enough non-caramelizing ingredient, which is what the water is. We're going to evaporate some of that and leave everything up in the suspension of the water. There we go. Let me grab a spoon here. Like I said, right now, very thin. But it's got a good salt level for me. Like I said, I like it salty. But it might be too salty for other people. And I would probably guarantee that it is. Now, unfortunately, it's not as stable as I would like it to be, but there we go. So now we are in the process of boiling, which is going to evaporate the water, thickening the sauce, naturally a reduction, not using a thickening agent like flour, a roux, cornstarch, arrowroot, xanthan gum, a lot of other ways to thicken, and to make it a lot more viscous. We don't want that. We want to just have the water evaporate. All right. So we're going to need a little bit of butter at the very end. Stick that up there. There we go. Get that out the way. We got to get a nice little plate out here. Now, I wish I had my pasta plates, but they're in my truck and not on this truck, and I just didn't have the time to grab them. I just hope they're still there and nobody stole them. All right, here we go. Oh, that smells wonderful. And of course, as we go along, the flavors will concentrate. And I'm looking to see what the consistency is using the spoon. How easily it runs out of the spoon. All right, so we will now grab our baked potato and our meat because we're getting very close to getting this ready. But it's still nice and hot, so here we go. Kane Henson, My World, My Way, Helen, how you doing? Yeah, sorry. And Sister Lynn down in Hermiston, Oregon. Like I said, Sister Lynn, we'll be passing by you more than likely tomorrow, sometime after noon or 1 o'clock, after we pick up our load here in Tacoma. We got to head up to Spokane. We just can't go down towards Boise, but we will do what we can. All right. So now we have our beef here, our piece of steak. We're going to take all them juices. We're going to dump those in there. Bringing more of that beefiness into the dish. Don't ever waste those things like that. Right? So now we're going to taste it again. Constantly, always, never go without. Constantly taste your sauces. Oh, much better. The pepper and the effect of the MSG, which is naturally present in beef, has really helped to bring the flavors a little bit more unified. Not as salty, but a little bit more of that tomatoey, herby flavor, that meaty flavor. That's present even more. So we're going to get our steak out here. Get that onto the plate. Get our aluminum foil here thrown away so I don't spill anything. Stick that on the floor, I think. There we go. We got our baked potato. We're going to get that unwrapped as well. So, baked potato. A, doing it in the microwave. Simply take your fork, your baked potato, and just jam the fork in as deep as you can get it all the way along, all the way around it. In the end, 4, 5, or 6 along the top there and every side. We'll keep it from ripping and we'll let it cook a little more evenly. All right. Stir that just a little bit more. The sauce is almost done, I think. That there. Yes, we are looking good. So we're going to turn that heat off. We're going to unplug it because the heat that's already in the metal of the pan, the copper, it's going to just keep going nice and evenly. So we're good for that. So we're going to cut our potato into the sections as I normally do. There we go. Let's turn that up there. Here we go. And of course, we got our butter, already at room temperature, which is a little bit more because we don't have really good we don't have the AC running, so we're gonna stick some butter in there like that, and let that just fill up every little nook and cranny and soak up that butter. We take a little bit on the beef itself. Get in there. Get back in there. We're gonna put the butter away. We could add another pat of butter into the gravy, into the sauce, but I don't think that's necessary at this point in time. We're gonna find a place for this. We're gonna stick this in the refrigerator, in the microwave, just to get it out of the way. There we go. Put that in there too. Close that up. Put that potato away. We don't need that one. Now we could put some chives. We could put some green onion, a little bit of garnish on there, but I ain't gonna be ultra fancy. We're doing enough with the sauce here. So I'm gonna take that like that. That gravy right on there. That sauce up there. I'm not gonna put it directly on the baked potato. Oops, how if I actually get in the plate, not on the bottom of the plate. Like I said, we're going to get some of them onions up there as well. Man, that's good. Let me find a towel here. I'm going to do it with my towel. Yeah, here we are. Here we are. All right. Gonna wipe this off so we don't have it dripping on the bed. Little steak and baked potato for dinner. Let's bring our little bed table here into our lap here so we can actually have a little bit of a dining experience. Let's probably just move that a little bit closer. There we go. So a nice butter-filled baked potato. Use the sour cream, the chives, whatever you would like, of course. You got a little extra bit of butter. Bring that little bit of richness and the gravy there as well. Nice little cut. Now this part here is mostly fat, but lovely, just lovely. So we still got a bit of the pink in there. Let's break into this baked potato, let that butter flow out. Oh yeah. That is how we do dinner on the road. Yep. Yeah, My World, My Way, Helen. This copper pan is from Soy, SOY, based in Turkey, the country of Turkey, Istanbul. It is a custom-made pan. They make each of them as you order it. It is solid copper with a silver lining on the inside of it, because you can't cook in the copper itself. You have to have a liner, so you don't have any kind of toxicity. But Soy of Turkey, It is expensive. I'm not going to lie or BS you on that. It is an expensive and wholly unnecessary thing to have. It is a luxury item. But as I love to cook, as I love to eat the product, I always want to have the absolute best I can have. And this is a $350 pan, which unfortunately they had like a 20% rise in their price since I ordered it. But to me, it is well worth it. Oh, nice little bit of steak. I said you don't need it. The vast majority of the quality of your food is going to be the ingredients and how you treat them. The skill that you accumulate over time. You know, here I am, February 8th. I said, a little over a week, I'm going to be turning 50 years old. I have never had this level of quality of pan in my life. And I've had a big, expensive kitchen. I mean, you would not believe some of the tools that I've had in a real kitchen at a home or an apartment. But I finally reached that point in my ability to cook that I felt it was now right for me to have that. So I saved up the money, and this is one of those very few times where I will actually say invested. I don't use that for a car or anything else I ever buy, because everything else I ever buy is not going to last beyond me. There's very few things that I've been able to actually buy that are like that. A good leather briefcase that I used to have. Unfortunately, I had to sell it because necessity. It would have lasted beyond me. It was worth the $500 I spent on that briefcase. My Red Wing boots. Those were an investment. They let me actually do work a lot better, a lot safer. And they were worth the money. And now, this pan. Besides gold, besides, stock in a company or in multiple companies, as it were, besides land, there's very few things that are actually worth being called an investment. And this is one thing. This pan will outlast me by several thousand years. Proper maintenance of this pan, relining it with silver again and again and again down the road, this pan will last well beyond my death, which children would get it, grandchildren would get it, their children and their children. Somebody will be fighting over the half of this pan, which for $350, that ain't that bad. Mm-mm-mm. It may seem, so see, that's the thing. It's a question of not being expensive or being a luxury item. It's being frugal with your money. What would you rather do? Spend $355 for this kind of pan one time, or buy cheap BS dollar store, Walmart, Nesco, pans that will last you a year or 2 years costs you $50, $60 or 30 or 40 pounds or whatever. And every 2 years spending that money. So after, 5 or 6 times doing that, you've spent more money on garbage. But other than that, like I said, you don't need it, but if you know how to use it and it becomes worth it to you, have at it. So, a nice, easy, simple dinner. No, I didn't make any vegetable. Like I said, I really don't have much in the freezer as a vegetable, so I'm not going to worry about it. The potato's a plant; it's a vegetable. The beef grew up eating plants, so that's vegetable too. So we'll count it as that. So I will go ahead and eat my dinner. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in. I am heading towards Denver with this next load, so we will see what we get. There is a ramen shop that a friend of mine on Facebook has recommended. I will be trying it out. Now, my opinion about ramen, it's very hard to find a good place because I make ramen in the truck myself, and I have what I like. But we're going to give it a try when we get there. Thursday, more than likely, I'll be there. Hopefully a little bit earlier than that. But we're going to give it a try. I'm going to make my judgment on it, and we'll see if we're going to order it from that place again. So, everybody, thank you very much. God bless. Sister Lynn, over 50 and Fantabulous, My World, My Way, Helen, Melanie, Elizabeth, B Blood, Kane Henson, Jeff Wright, Roxbury, Trucking Along with Kiersey, TJ Jones, Bull of the Woods, Love Heart, Mr. Scott, Trucker C, Stephen Huber, Mr. Welkster, Jameson Taylor, Hit Ferris, thank you very much. B Blood, like I said, couldn't stick around. Umberto Silva. Thank you all very much for coming in. I do appreciate it. It's not as complex as I can get. Hopefully, when I get back into my truck and I have things set up a little bit better, I have more room, I'm a little more comfortable, we will try to get back to doing the audience choice dinners. I was hoping to do it this week, but just didn't happen. But we had something good. We had something filling and wholesome. A pound and a pound and a fifth of steak, a nice big baked potato. This guy is going to be happy with dinner. So there we go. I made a nice little sauce with it, rich and complex. Can't argue with that. So until next time, we will see you on Facebook and YouTube, driving down the road, possibly loading tomorrow over here in Tacoma, near the dock or near the port. We're not going into the port like we did earlier this week, but we are going to right next to the port. So we'll be picking up a 85G John Deere excavator going here to Frederick, Colorado, which is a little bit north of Denver. So other than that, we're going to have a good ride, good safe ride. Like I said, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you on Unapologetic Semi Kitchen, the name right there for the cooking group on Facebook. And, of course, This Trucker's Life on YouTube. And we will see you all later. Thank you very much for joining me. I do appreciate it. God bless, and have a good night, my friends.